Hey everyone, welcome back to the layout. It's been a long time since I've posted anything, much less a layout update. So I've got a week left on the semester, and I'm going to be posting videos again, this one included, when the semester ends. So I'm filming this now just to get it out of the way. But figured I'd go ahead and start off with a update of my current roster and a few things I've done with the layout as of late. So, where to begin? I guess with what's closest, we've got two, I believe they're Proto 2000 E7 or E8, so I'm not 100% sure which ones they are. I got these secondhand from a yard sale along with a bunch of other things. And here we have Gulf Mobile in Ohio 101 and Southern Railway 2905. Both of these have DCC sound in them. So now we're going to take a look at my Steam roster. And I've got 5 steam engines sitting right here that I use from time to time. We're going to go with the closest one first. This is a Bachmann 284 Berkshire type nickel plate road 765. I had, a few years ago, I had a TCS Wow Sound Steam 101 DCC decoder put into it, so it's got sound. It sounds like the real thing. Runs decently well. It has trouble going over a couple of the switches on my layout, but I mean, that's easy track for you. I'm not very fond of it, but I didn't really know what I was doing starting up, so I just have a lot of easy track. But anyhow, that's my 765. It's one of my favorite engines because 765 was one of the very first steam locomotives I was fond of as a kid. Somebody recorded a video of wheeling in the rat hole from the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society for me and gave it to me when I was a kid, and after seeing that video I fell in love with the engine. So here I have it on my layout. Next one is another Bachmann product. It is a 210-2 Santa Fe type steam locomotive. It is Southern Railway 5212. It comes with a standard Bachmann DCC decoder. It does not have sound. It kind of stutters a bit when it travels along the layout. I got this one secondhand too, from a good friend of mine, Glenn Samuel. To the right of it is my Broadway Limited Class J 484 steam locomotive, number 611, Norfolk and Western 611. When I was sort of in high school, I thought it'd be cool to accumulate as many steam locomotives from the 21st century steam locomotive, 21st century steam excursions that Norfolk Southern was putting on. So here I have 611. I also have Broadway Limited Southern Railway number 4501. It's a 282 Mikado type. Both the 611 and the 4501 have DCC and sound. And Broadway Limited makes a pretty detailed engine. Both of them look great. Sounds are okay. Generally, I would have decoder issues with them a few days after I got them, but send them off to Broadway Limited, get them back, haven't had problems since. Next steam engine on my roster is Southern Railway 722. This is a Bachmann product. It is a 280 consolidation type steam locomotive. A few months ago, I had a Tsunami steam decoder put into the engine, and I enjoy the sounds from the engine. It's a pretty good engine. All of them are. So that's my Steam roster. Okay, so next off we're going to move to the other side of the layout and look at my small and up-and-coming BNSF roster here. First engine I'd like to talk about is my Bachmann SD40-2 BNSF 1734. It is DCC equipped. It does not have sound, but I got it for a decent price at a hobby store. And I largely use it to switch the yard back here. It's a good engine for a good price. Next engine to talk about is my Athearn Genesis SD70 Mac, my executive SD70 Mac, BNSF 9539. It is equipped with a Tsunami sound decoder. I'm not precisely sure of which one, but it does have DCC and sound. It's a good engine. I am largely a sucker for anything that's Southern, BN, or Frisco. Those are my three favorite fallen flags, and this engine's ex-BN. And I enjoy seeing one every chance I get. There are some of my favorite engines running around on the railroad currently. Next engine to talk about is my Scale Trains D9-44CW or -9 Santa Fe 699 war bonnet. It is equipped with a ESU Loc Sound 5.0 DCC decoder, and the sound is every bit as good as the detail on the engine. It is one of the most detailed engines I have in my ownership right now. It is one of my favorites. It's a very good buy. If you're able to, I would recommend this engine definitely. So next up I'm going to talk about what is behind this engine, my crane train set. And this is sort of my pitch for if anyone's starting to get into model trains and start to get more involved in the hobby, to join a club and go to train shows and things like that, because those will help you build your knowledge within the hobby, know what to do, know what not to do, and you tend to get some pretty good deals at train shows. But I want to talk about this crane train set and sort of pitch as to why you should join a club. So I'm involved with the Southwest Alabama Railroad Modelers, otherwise known as SWARM, that sort of focuses on the Gulf Coast, but is mainly based out of the Mobile area. So I was going to a meeting with a friend of mine named Glenn Samuel, and we were touring a model railroad. And we get there and we start to talking with some of the other members there, and this person just shows up and with a box of model trains, and he leaves it there, and I don't even think he goes to tour the model railroad with us. He just leaves the box there, and it's full of model trains, and this set was in there, and it sort of went like this as to how I got it. I asked my friend Glenn, "Hey Glenn, is there a price on any of these?" And he says, "No, I don't think so." So I'm like, okay, I got dibs on this crane train set. So I walked out of that meeting with this crane train set for free, completely free. So when you get involved in clubs and go to train shows, well, mainly involved with clubs, it tends to open a lot of doors that you normally wouldn't get when you're just by yourself in this hobby. So that's sort of my pitch to new model railroaders on why you should join a local club. So now we're going to talk about scenery on my model railroad. And in a few of the previous clips, you will have seen these white sections, and you're wondering, Slater, what the heck are these? Well, these are platform sections that I made with my Ender 3 Pro 3D printer. I am trying to print as much of my scenery as I can. I'm starting out with platforms. They have the holes in the middle of them because that's where I want to put poles for roofing sections at. So when passengers embark and disembark onto the passenger trains, they don't get wet if it rains. That's the sort of scenario I'm going for. But that's something I've started doing lately. Like to focus on this kit over here. It is a freight station. It is a Bachmann Plasticville kit that I got from a local hobby store, and it is used to unload paper from the box cars that come from the paper mill on the other side of the layout. And this is just me trying to get started with scenery and things like that. Not trying to do anything super duper fancy. Not trying to make Model Railroad or magazine or anything like that. But I was able to accumulate a lot more buildings from the train show, the most recent model train show that Swarm put on. And I was able to get a lot of these buildings for a really good deal. Like, people towards the end, it was a light crowd because of the pandemic, but people were just willing to get rid of their stuff, and they were just about to the point of throwing things at me, saying, here, take them. Next thing I want to focus on is this oil industry I have up here. I got a refinery set in the back it's a Walther's kit, and the only bad thing about it is that while making it, I was basically saying this thing is going to have more super glue than plastic on it. It wasn't easy to put together, even with the schematics. But I got it together, and it looks decent. And I also got these two blue tanks at the train show. And I was really happy to find one with Chevron, because I named the refinery after two of my buddies from college, and they both happened to work as engineers at Chevron. So I thought it was cool that I could get my hands on these. And moving over, I've still got some buildings and pieces and a few other projects. And I've got another town over here, and another station building. And this pedestrian crossing, or elevated pedestrian crossing, is another Bachmann Plasticsville product. And I enjoy it. It was decent to put together. It wasn't extremely hard. There were a few little things that I had a tough time staying together, but nothing a little super glue couldn't fix. So now we're going to move and talk about some future projects that I have. And we're going to start with engines. The two GM&O engines I have right here are the subject of this clip right now. One on the left is an Athearn GP38-2 GM&O 750. And it is not DCC compatible, it's only DC. It doesn't even have a spot to plug in a decoder at. So basically what I'm going to do with it is switch the shell out for an engine of a railroad that I really don't care for, and that engine that I don't care for is going to be DCC, maybe sound, but I'm just going to switch the shells out on the two engines. On GM&O 605, the engine on the right, I did that, and really the only thing with it is it just needs programming. I put an older DCC decoder, actually my old 722 decoder, in this engine to try and get it running, and it runs, just not in the right direction. And I tried programming it some more, but JMRI didn't really want to cooperate with me that well, and I had a DCS-52, excuse me, command station, sort of for people starting out with DCC. It's really easy to set up, I recommend it, but in trying to program the GM&O 605, I wound up frying it, and I had to send it back to Digitrax, and it is currently back there waiting. My friend Glenn Samuel lent me a command station while Digitrax is working on it. And yeah, also on the subject of Digitrax, I have the, what is it, the LNWI. It basically allows you to operate your model trains from your cell phone. So both of those put together are probably like $350, but both of them are worth the cost, because instead of it just being you and only you that can operate model trains, you can have other people operate model trains with you, and they can run it from their cell phones through the right app. So that's as far as that goes with these two engines. The one on the left basically needs a new chassis, and the one on the right needs to be reprogrammed. Next engine I want to talk about is my Athearn CSX-9 CSX 9016. I've had this engine for a long time, and I have always wanted to try and put sound in it. So that's sort of next on my agenda for it. Another project for way far down the road is replacing the 4 ditch lights on it. There are no light bulbs in them. They're just solid plastic. So I think it'd be cool to put flashing ditch lights on them, but that's way above my level of expertise as far as model trains go, and I don't want to fool around with stuff I don't know about. So that's my CSX-9. Next up is my Bachmann 060 switcher Union Pacific 442. It is DCC compatible. It doesn't have sound, but DCC is not really the problem with this thing. There is one major design flaw with this, and I cannot for the life of me believe Bachmann did this. But the entire front end of this engine, including the coupler, is solid plastic. And I can't believe they would do that for a switch engine. So I have been thinking about how I can 3D print a new front engine where I can put a coupler on it and use it for switching, because that front end coupler is really the only thing that's keeping me from using it more on my layout. It's a decent little engine, and I actually got it with my first Bachmann Easy Command DCC command station. It came with it, so it's a decent little engine. It just needs a lot of work on it, and it just turns out that work's going to be rather complex. So the next project and final project that I'm showcasing in this video that I have as far as engines go is this FEC 445 that I have right here. It is a GP40, and it is an Athearn engine, I believe. Now, it's not Southern, it's not BN, it's not GM&O or CSX or anything like that. It's Florida East Coast. And you might say, well, Slater, Southern, and BN are your favorites. Why'd you get this engine? There's a reason behind it. If you've been subscribed to the channel long enough, back to where I was actually posting a lot of videos, and you remember seeing one video with AGR 445 and the Speedway paint scheme, I had a few pictures of that on my channel, and this was Alabama Gulf Coast Railway's heritage unit of sorts. They got 4 of the blue GP40s from FEC, and this was the only one that retained the Speedway lettering, so it was our own little heritage unit of sorts. So, and I found this at a train show, the most recent train show that Swarm put on, and it's a dummy engine. It was only $10, so it was a no-brainer as to buy it. I plan to get a Athearn GP40 that is DCC and sound compatible and replace the shells on this one, and eventually I want to get into the AGR lettering. Basically just put AGR below the 445 and paint over all the FEC stuff, put some AGR decals on it, but again, that's above my level of experience with model trains. So far I plan to just replace the shells of the two engines, this and the potential GP40 I plan to buy. But I was amazed that I even came across this at the train show, and I am very, very happy to have it in my possession. And now we move on to scenery. You see a can of paint and some ballast over there. I plan to use the paint to make ground on the layout, and I plan to put ballast down. And I also bought a Woodland Scenics starter kit, and I plan to put grass and things like that down the layout as well. Make it actually start looking like more of a model railroad. So that's what I have on the layout right now, and that is where I intend to go so far. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I am a grad student in college, so I don't have a lot of time on my hands to make these videos, but they do take a lot of effort, so please like and subscribe and let me know you appreciated it, because it gives me positive feedback, and I kind of thrive off of that. So, again, thanks for watching. Hope all of you are staying safe and healthy amidst all the pandemic concerns, and I hope y'all are making good choices, and you're doing well and your family's doing well. So thanks for watching, and take care. We'll see you in the next video.